Everybody, it is wonderful to be here. And it is wonderful to see all of you here. And when I heard Sangeeta speak, I got a thrill. And when I heard Lincoln speak, I got energy. And sitting here in the company of my chairman of the COP, deputy leaders of the COP, the team at the head, and of course our political leader, and seeing all of you here in your numbers, I begin to feel good and hopeful and very optimistic about the future of Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you very, very much. This is a book of achievements that was done on the achievements of your government in March 31st, 2014. So we have had many achievements since this achievement document was prepared. And I want to tell you that when this document was prepared, we had already either completed or in the process of completing 90% of the promises that we made under 9 policy shifts in the manifesto of 2010. The opposition has had 9 terms of government in Trinidad and Tobago. Did they ever account for manifesto achievements in any of those 5 years? They know nothing about accountability. This is a book, an annual report on performance 2014. In 2012, we laid our performance for 2011-12 in the Parliament. In 2013, we laid the document in Parliament for 12-13. And in 2014, we laid 2013-14. And this is our document which takes us up to August of 2014 this year, which we will also lay in Parliament. And what it does is that it takes the 5 priorities that are budgeted for in every budget and measures 48 indicators to see how well we have done, where we have not done so well in, and what we have not done well with. And it is a very accurate account. And we lay this in Parliament every year. And we will lay this in a matter of weeks in the Parliament. Did that opposition that had 9 terms of government in this country ever lay a document of their achievement in the Parliament? They are full of old talk, but they are not accountable. And I will say something more about that in a minute. But I want to say to you, members of the COP, part and parcel, heart and soul and conscience of the People's Partnership, I want to say that there's a lot of good to report on the state of Trinidad and Tobago today. The economy of Trinidad and Tobago is growing. The economy is buoyant, and unemployment is the lowest it has ever been in the history of our country. That is achievement. Through one program alone, the Idea to Innovation program, we have funded 150 new entrepreneurs over the last 3 years in this country. And within a matter of a month, we will fund another 50 or so in this program, bringing to fruition the work, the ideas of 200 entrepreneurs, most of them young, in Trinidad and Tobago. These are mostly young people. They are innovators, they are business creators, they are developers, they are entrepreneurs. And 248 persons have been trained as semi-skilled farmers and agro-entrepreneurs in 2014 alone. You can multiply that by the number of years. So that we are doing the development in the big sense of community, in the big sense of infrastructure, in things like hospitals and so on, but we are doing development of people one by one, giving them opportunity. I wonder if you know that your government has created the conditions in this country in which 14,484 businesses were registered in 2013, new businesses, and that 13,477 businesses were registered in the year just gone, 2014. That means that more people are getting into business and that it is easier to register a business. In 2010, for instance, only 6,659 were registered. It tells you something about the spirit of the country at this time and the entrepreneurial talent coming to the fore at this time in our history. I want to give you some other numbers. In 2013, 2,378 persons benefited from our prepaid dialysis program. 1,189 benefited from the adult cardiac programs. 508 benefited from angiograms, and 101 from angioplasty. These are human beings, human lives. These are people who are looked after by the public health care in this country to make sure that they can have a better life. We will achieve universal preschool education this year in 2015. Performance at primary school is better, which means our children are doing better in school. The secondary school's curriculum has been expanded and diversified. There is now 65% participation in tertiary education and a 40% graduation rate. Over the last 4 years or so, 80 schools, more than 80 schools have been built in Trinidad and Tobago. Who are we working for? We are working for the people one at a time in Trinidad and Tobago. Every child, every citizen, every human being. The levels of direct investment, foreign investment in Trinidad and Tobago, it is higher than it has ever been in the history of the country. And this is based on 2013 figures and 2014 figures. It is there in the reports of the central bank and other institutions of the country. The energy services sector has become very competitive and is growing internationally and can help to build an international platform for partnership with other countries in energy. And that is where we are going next with the energy sector. The diversification process is beginning as the non-energy sector has begun to contribute more to GDP growth than it has ever done before. The services sector now contributes approximately 15% to the GDP. And I want to tell you that the services sector contributes about 65% of the jobs in the country. Social support measures have been strengthened for the vulnerable and the poor. And the middle class is expanding, and they are being given incentives in the last budget, the one before, to save, to invest, to build for the future. You live in Diego Martin here, and therefore you know about the highway that has been recently built. You know that a major health center, almost like a hospital, is being built in Caranage. It is almost completed. You know that we have had stops and starts with the fishing depot, but we are going to do it. You know what we have done in Chagaramas. It has become a people's haven in Chagaramas. And today, we took a note to Cabinet. It has been sent to GDP, to F&GP. And the purpose of that note is to begin the consultation for a road to Chagaramas other than the existing alternative that we have now. Now, don't get me wrong, it will not be built in a year, but we have begun the consultative process to do that. There is demand now in Chagaramas, and it is very clear that we need that road more than ever. Now, I want to ask you, Keith Rowley has been a representative of his constituency for many years. Colm Imber has been a representative of his constituency for many years. I want to ask you very simply, what have they done for you or for the country lately? What did Keith Rowley do as Minister of Planning that made any decisive difference in this country? What did Colm Imber do in this area to justify his continuing as Member of Parliament for his constituency? What did Keith Rowley do in the last 5 years to warrant your consideration of him as leader of the country? And if you were not sure before, after last night's performance, you know today that he is not leadership material. Here is a man who, on a platform, speaking to the country in the hope of winning their support to be Prime Minister of this country, complimenting me on my swift action in a situation that was really unhealthy. I could not condone it. I had to take the action that I did because this country is a beautiful country. I do not want to see it divided and tarnished. And soon as he finished that, he started to stoke racial feelings and sentiments among the people gathered there in his own meeting. He then went on to disrespect our Prime Minister. He went on to denigrate all women. And I think he achieved a new low of crudeness for a political leader in this country. I think what happened is that what he did revealed himself as a man totally without the capacity for restraint. We do not need that. I want to recognize the former mayor of Arima. I want to welcome viewers at home as we are live on CTV. And I want to remind you that we do not have a representative in Diego Martin, and we want one. Okay. Now, I want to say that there is a philosophical difference between the two parties. I mentioned the 9 policy shift. I mentioned people-centeredness and genuine protection for the poor and vulnerable. And you can see in the way that we deal with the issue of distribution of shares for the people, the distribution of houses for the people, homes, the distribution of land for the people, that what we are about is strengthening and empowering our people and bringing them into the mainstream of the economy. And I want to say that we do not look at our people, on our people, as people that we should be afraid of, that people, as people that we should keep on a string, that we should keep on independency. We see our people as people that we should bring into political stakeholdership as partners and economic stakeholdership as owners in the system. I want to say all our policies in Trinidad and Tobago are geared to ensure that the vulnerable are looked after, are geared to ensure that the middle class expands, and are geared to ensure that people get more and more opportunities for wealth creation in the country. And I want to say that if that is the country you want, and that is the country you want to build, then the future is with the COP. The future is with the People's Partnership. The future is about unity of the people of Trinidad and Tobago.